Hey, what's up guys, this is Samuel G and I'm back with a video response. And yeah, it's really windy today. They announced around like 30 centimeters of snow in Quebec where I live. It's gonna be a nasty one. But hey, let's talk about some RPG, shall we? This is a video response to ivanmike, who's been busy, nonetheless. He's been definitely busy, and he's coming at us today with a how can I say that? Not an aggressive video, but a provocative one with a title as like good GM fiat. There is good GM fiat. What he's trying to say is basically just that if the GM is interpreting the rules logically and it makes sense for everybody, it's okay, right? So it's a classic. But he gave, I think the video is good because he gave probably the best definition of GM fiat I've heard. Just for that, you should listen. It's at the beginning of the video. But his argument is basically this, like his proposition is when it's logical and the rules are obscure and shaky, and the GM utilizes power to make sense out of it, right? What I want to say about that is that there is no such thing as good or bad GM fiat. GM fiat is just a thing. It is a phenomenon that is happening in RPG, and it can happen in pretty much all the games. Some games are so tightly written, tightly organized by rules, that it's like a closed system, that it's really hard to GM fiat without it being obviously something, like I don't know, I don't have a game in mind. It's been so long since I've played, I don't remember, but I think about a really small indie press game that is really, really closely knit, tightly knit. Maybe something like Shock, where the interpretation of rule is not something that you have to do. It's just doesn't matter. It's not even relevant. It's so straightforward, right? And on the other hand, you take a game like a little bit more traditional game like D&D or Shadowrun or even Burning Wheel. I mean, you can be so fiaty, like GM fiat in a game like Burning Wheel. So you take one of those games and GM fiat can happen. Now, GM fiat is a state of mind. I think he mentioned it, ivanmike, in his video. It's an attitude. It's a style of play. Some people utilize it a lot, and it's part of their culture of play. It's part of their group. It's part of their style. He mentioned it in his video. Runeslinger and I had this discussion where we talk about Tom. Like the Tom's game. Let's go at Tom's game. On the Friday night, and Tom is an amazing storyteller, an amazing narrator, an amazing DM, and we play a game that has a lot of room for GM fiat, but his fiat is good. We like his fiat. We want to, the dude has 20 years of experience, so he has a great imagination. Everybody's on the same page. Therefore, it's all good. It's part of the game. It's part of the social contract. But on the other hand, sometimes you play in a group and GM Fiat is not supposed to be there, and it's been discussed, it's been stated somehow and stuff, and then you play, and then instead of dying at where you should have died, well, a strange event occur, and then no, he's not cutting your head off, he lets you go, and you're like, why did you fucking let me go? I wanted to die, I was supposed to die, right? And so, you know, GM Fiat is a really interesting phenomenon in the RPG, at least for me. It's been, and you know, I know that in the past when I talk about it, I always talk about it negatively, like it's a bad thing, it's stupid, you know, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, and still today, I mean, the thing where I'm at today is that GM Fiat, for me, it's a choice. It's an attitude that, and it's a phenomenon that we need to be aware of. First, we need to recognize it as something that has been, you know, that it's happening, and then make our mind about it. Do we, you know, do I feel to play a game where GM's gonna take away some of my agency by interpreting the rules? If so, I agree upon this thing that might happen, and I can play with it. You know, it all comes down to talk to your player at this point. If you see, this is a video about talking to your player right there, right? And so, and so, yeah. Now, when we talk about style of play. Now I'm gonna answer, since this video it's fairly short, I'm gonna take the opportunity to answer a couple of other questions that I've seen around. In the French brigade, Nolinquisitor did a video recently talking about shall we roll before or after narration when we have social roles. And for him, you know, his preference, his taste, is that we should roll after narration. And the reason why he prefers that is because he says that it encourages roleplay. You know, it promotes roleplay because you don't cut the flow of roleplay with a die roll by putting mechanic first. Me, because I think he calls himself a narrativist. You know, I think he is more of the narrativist approach or something. You know, whatever. Me, I'm more of a gamist, and so therefore I will always put the dice first, and then you roleplay, because you want the dice to tells you how to roleplay. You know. Both answers are perfectly equally good. I mean, it's just a matter of taste, and he discussed it in the video. Now, again, it's a matter of style of play, and so it's not. There's nothing good or bad about either interpretation. Now, if we go, I want to answer. This is just an example. I want to answer thulean perspective. About his video where he talks about the idea of competence and skills, narration of skills in RPG. So thulean perspective says, if I play a surgeon, the DM cannot ask me to narrate my skill roll, because I know nothing about surgery and medical procedures. So therefore, I'm not, as a player, I'm not supposed to be able to do that. So I don't, you know, he doesn't like when people ask that, when GM asks that, and and he says that it's not the good way to interpret skill rolls in RPG somehow, and he make a point about that. And well, my answer to him, I wrote in the comment section, I don't agree. I think that obviously everybody has some, you know, imagination. Everybody has seen imageries, you know, of pictures or movies or whatever where there is surgery that's happening, and therefore with a little bit of imagination you can narrate some stuff that's gonna make sense and it's gonna look cool and it's gonna inject more narration in the storytelling of the group and all that. So therefore, you know, you should be able to do a little bit at least. Well, to him, and he said it very well in the video, it's a matter of taste. It's a matter of style of play. Again, so my point here in this whole video, what I'm trying to say, I'm not trying to relativize and say, you know, it's all about style and it's all about taste and it depends on, you know, social contract, and it depends on what everybody agrees upon, because that's really boring answer. The thing is that what I'm trying to say is that in a topic like gaming, we have no other way around it. Every discussion that we're gonna have always gonna come down to that to some degree. Always gonna come down to that to some degree, because it's gaming, you know. Nobody is forced to be engaged in that activity. Therefore, if nobody is forced to, it's not vital something whatsoever, it doesn't come down to a false or truth, you know. And therefore it's it will to some degree come down to taste and style. And this is why the talk to the player principle is so huge, so huge, because it's all about consensus. It's all about consensus, and once a consensus is established, then you have your truth and false. That kind of falls down into consideration, because when you have like a clear social contract and someone is not doing it, he plays it wrong. Well, anyway, so this is I was listening to these videos, and it got me thinking, but especially the good DM fiat thing with ivanmike. It was a really good video, ivanmike. I want to encourage you to keep going, because you're fueling us with some crazy good content and ideas, and just your energy is contagious, so keep at it. The best GM fiat definition in this video, I'm telling you, it's really worth listening to it. There's also a really good example of fiat with, you know, the quantum ogre and all that, and so yeah, I would say listen to this video if you're interested in that topic. And but one thing I would just want to come back to it, because this video is has layers, and I was trying to answer many different videos and YouTubers, but the idea is that in terms of GM fiat, the reason why there's no such thing as good or bad GM fiat is that it's just a phenomenon. It's just it's a thing, you know. It's neutral. It's not about good and bad. It's about it is something. It is a way of doing it, of doing the thing, which is interpreting the rules and all that. But especially in this day and age, in the RPG hobby, the games are more and more clear about intentions, about rules, and it's written in a way that it's getting harder and harder to. But well, it's not that true. It's not necessarily true. I don't want to make a generalization, but there's always going to be a game that is written in a way that it says, this is your game, you know, bend it, do whatever you want with it. If you don't like a rule, throw it, you know, and all that, you're always gonna have, you know, that game, you know, that's gonna be proposed to you. That game leaves the door open to GM Fiat, and then you know it. You know it in advance. It's written in the way the rules are proposed. There's nothing wrong. Again, it's a way of doing it. So, but I think there's a need now for clearer intentions and clearer rules in games. We see them more and more coming out. We see less of those sentences or paragraph proposition in games when it says the game, this is your game and you should throw away rules. You see less of that. It was definitely there all the time in games written in the 90s or in the early 20s maybe. But I see less and less of that now. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. Alright, this is a long video. So my point was just that instead of talking about stuff in the hobby as good or bad, or we should probably talk about it more in terms of taste and style and approaches, you know, to the whole thing. And but it's not because it's about taste and style that it's about relativism, because once there's a consensus established, there is good and there is wrong and good way of doing it. Alright, thank you for watching. I'll talk to you soon. I want to know what you guys think about this. Let me know. I'm sorry, I forgot the good habits. Let me know in the comment section or video response. Go see ivanmike and thuleanperspective, and if you're French, nolinquisitor's video. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. Talk to you soon.